Hey, welcome. This is Barney Kuntze. I am sitting in my super comfy chair in my office. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing great. And for those of you in our Young Living community and you're at convention and you're watching this, then good on you. And if not, then still good on you. This is going to be a great call today. And I'll also say that it might be a short one. I just spoke with John earlier today. And he was good to go for the call at 1. But I tried calling his cell phone and there's no answer. And I haven't been able to get a hold of him now, and he's not on the call, so I'm not sure. But what I will say is that out of doing these, I think, well over a year, these live weekly coaching calls, we've been doing them for about 60 calls we've had. And we have had it only a couple times where we've had something happen, or probably about 5 times where the technology doesn't work or the presenter doesn't get the link. But I think I see John in here. Okay, John, can you give me the thumbs up to make sure that you're good? You can hear me? Okay, because I'm not able to bring you in yet. But at any rate, just want to say welcome and thanks for being here. And also that if you have any questions, you can put them in. Type them into the chat box. Type them in as a comment, and then I will get them and answer them for you as best as possible. And since I see there's quite a few people online already, just let me know where you are tuning in live from today. If you're in the UK or Australia, we have some Australians on sometimes at early in the morning. Maybe you're from Singapore or from Ontario, Canada, or in the US. But either way, it's always kind of fun to see where everybody's calling in from. And so today, our guest presenter who's going to be coming on here in a couple minutes, his name's John Jacobs, actually lives about 30 minutes just outside of, away from where I am. Thank you. My wife just brought me a coffee. And so I am interested to hear more and learn more myself. I've actually used this technology in our gyms for humans. And we use it regularly at our home, but I had no idea that you could use it on animals. And so John's going to be talking a little bit more about what this thing actually is, Ionic Detoxification Therapy, and how you can use it for your animals. So he's coming on as a new presenter for our 2019 summit. And before I bring John in here, I'll also let you know that I just was off the phone today with Dr. Margot Roman from Pennsylvania, I think, or somewhere. I'm drawing a blank. But we had it was supposed to be a 30-minute chat, and we talked for over an hour and a half. And all I'll tell you right now is that there is over, and get ready for this because this is not a joke, there's over 800 hours of footage that she had, and a group of her and a few other people had taken from over, I think, almost 12 years ago. And interviewed over 140 or 150 different holistic veterinary doctors of veterinary medicine, and it's never been released before. And she's like, I'm wondering, maybe somebody that could help me with this, because we've never been able to figure it out or have the bandwidth or the time to be able to get this out there. And I said, well, I might know somebody that could help, and that would be this guy right here. So we'll have to stay tuned on that, but we're going to have her. She's going to be presenting. I don't know if you guys, let me know if you're on live and if you know who Dr. Margot Roman is or not. She's been in practice for over 40 years. She's very educated, very knowledgeable, very experienced, and has such a big heart. So it's just cool. I'm connecting with a lot of the new presenters, and I'm excited for you guys for this year's summit. It's going to be amazing. And, we have some returning presenters because they do such an amazing job and have such a wealth of wisdom to share that they're returning. And then we have some other presenters that are new. It's probably about close to 50-50. So you got 50% new and 50% returning. So I want to say a quick little shout out to Sarah May all the way from UK. Nice to see you on here. And Diana from Tennessee. And Deanna, there's Diana, pardon me, and Deanna. From rainy Akron, Ohio. We had the rain just not too long ago in Florida, Ohio, New York, and Jerry is from High. Just kidding. I know you're just saying hi there. So I'm going to bring John up in just a second. I think he's going to jump right on the screen, and there is no preparation there, John. So you're on the screen live and ready to rock and roll. So how you doing?
I'm doing great, Barney. Glad
Good.
to be on here. And yeah, you combed your hair too again.
I did it just in case there's anybody else who was on here. It was like, wow, I actually had a compliment the other day, and I'm sure you guys will think this is funny. And if you don't, then at least I think it's funny, and that counts for something. They're like, every time I see you, I'm just so grateful for the fact that you always do your hair. So I took that as a compliment. But John, I know that this is new for you. I'd like to, new as in coming on to being a presenter for the Animal Wellness Summit. And we have Michelle Passion. I always mispronounce your last name, Michelle. But she's one of our presenters as well. And she's just asking, she's wondering, is this the same treatment used for humans at Detox and Foot Bath? Interesting. So we're going to get to your question there, Michelle. But yes, that is what we're referring to. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details of it, and by the way, guys, go in and as questions come up, put them into the comment box. But before we get rolling, John, I'd like you to just take a couple minutes, and I know you have like an amazing story about why you as a retired auto mechanic is doing what you're doing now. And I always like the presenters to share their story, because there's not one person. I mean, not everybody as being human beings, we all have a story, but when it comes to being in doing the type of work that we're doing, specifically, there's usually always a story that's kind of led to it. So why don't you tell us, first of all, who you are, what you do, and kind of what your background is, and how you got into this type of work, because you've been doing it for, I think 15 years, I think it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that. And we're going to talk. So I'll put you on the screen just solo. So I'll let you go. So you got full attention now to tell your story, and then we'll get into some questions.
Yeah. So it was about 15 years ago where I had my own business as an auto mechanic, and my wife struggled with a lot of health problems, and we went through medical, we went through natural and everything, and she was diagnosed with too many heavy metals in her body, and had a lot of joint pain, depression, and chronic fatigue. Like, this vibrant gal couldn't even get out of bed, and she was diagnosed with too many heavy metals in her body. Mercury and lead were the main, and the mercury was coming from her silver amalgams in her teeth. And we tried a lot with medical, and not we need medical, but a lot of times they just told her it was in her head, and just prescribing more medication. We knew there was a better way, and kept searching, and we stumbled upon this Ionic Foot Bath. Her cousin's wellness clinic told her to come and try it. She knew the issues that she was going through with all the toxins in her body. And she came back that day and she said, "John, I tried something today, and I couldn't explain it." Or she couldn't explain it, but she says, "I put my feet in this perfectly clear water in the tub, and after 30 minutes, it was very, very disgustingly dirty and had a real extensive odor to it." And, I was really skeptic about it. You put your feet in this water, and after 30 minutes, it was real dirty, and so. But I was very open, because we had tried a lot of things, and what I realized, it gave her hope again, seeing how disgusting the water was, and the visuality. I think the human mind is very, very another organ that's as human beings, we want to see it before we believe, and there's a lot of great science behind it, but also she she could see almost instantly the results coming out of the water, and so that's got us started on it. And I worked with the Dr. Maroney, who I call the grandfather of ionization in the U.S. that with the original ion cleanse. And then in 2007, my son Craig and we developed our own detox foot bath, and we added two more modalities on it to the Ion Detox. We added far infrared heat and a TENS, and we just found that they complemented. You could use all three modalities at once, or you can use them separate. So, and now we're just coming out with a brand new hyper bath that has the far infrared heat and the Ion Detox, the very same technology. And what ionization does, it wants to clean up the water in the tub. So what we...
Hey, John.
Yep.
Sorry, I just want to stop you right there for a second.
Yep.
Before we get into that part, with the ionization, because Michelle's asking, she's saying, and it is Patron. Wow. It shouldn't be this hard, but Michelle Patron. I like to try to make sure I remember to properly pronunciate. So let me know if I'm correct, Michelle. But she was asking if this is the same treatment used for humans. So first of all, before you actually explain it, predominantly the people that are using this that I know of, I mean, for me anyways, at the gyms, it's humans. When you told me before a couple months ago, like, oh yeah, people are using it. You have vets that have purchased it and they're using it in their practice, and they're putting like the horse's leg in it in a big pail, and the dogs are doing this and all this stuff. I was just like, I found it, I don't know why, but I mean, I just wanted to put it out there, especially early on here in our coaching call, because we find that when the presenters are talking about it, they'll make reference to like, oh, you know, this is a lot about how the human body works, and this is like, it's similar, but it's different in the animals' bodies. And I know that your specialty and knowledge, based on all your research and doing this for 15 years, has been in the actual like technology or the process itself, but not necessarily directly with hands-on direct use with animals. Just that I just wanted to kind of put that out there and clarify that it's not that you're doing treatments for pets and animals coming to your house. It's that you're providing the units for people, but that you have customers all around the world that have used it. Is that right?
Exactly. And that's where we found, like, we initially did it for humans, but we get a lot of pet owners, and our own pet years ago, a little Shih Tzu.
Yeah.
She had a lot of problems with kidney stones, and we found when we regular detoxed her, she didn't get the kidney stones anymore. So, and we had so many people call, because a lot of people were more interested in spending money on their pets than they were on themselves. I remember one lady in particular, she had a lot of health problems, but her 13-year-old lab had a lot of joint problems in its hips. And she says, I'm not too worried about mine. I'll use it for myself, but I really want to give my pet the best years of its life. And she did it every couple of days, and she noticed a huge difference on the stiffness in the hips. And we have people with race horses or regular horses with leg problems where they won't put the foot of a horse right in the bath.
Right.
We have an extended cord array, so you can put it in another bucket.
So go into it.
But we're warm-blooded. Humans are much the same as animals, and getting the toxins, like our pets are exposed to a lot of toxins too, and that's what it does. It elevates the hydrogen peroxide or oxygen in our bodies at a deep cellular level, and that's why we see results with with animals too, and
Yeah,
mystic.
so this part, because I want you to get into that a little bit further down the road, the how the dogs with like how they use it and how the horses, it's being used in horses. But can you just kind of like, I'm going to presume that there are, side note, I know you said like some people spend more money in their animals than they do themselves, and I'll say that jokingly. I'm sure there's nobody on the call today that has done that or who does that. That's supposed to be mild sarcasm, because I'm sure some of us out there have spent more on our pets than we'd like to admit. But we want to do the best. That's, you know, it's good to know that when it comes down to doing something, if something has a proven track record or it works, then it's worth the investment. The worst thing ever is spending money on something you're not really sure if you're going to get a return on or a favorable kind of response. But let's presume that somebody's listening and they're like, I have no friggin' idea what these guys are talking about. What the heck what is it, and how does it work specifically? Like, you know, you put something in the water, you put some sea salt in there. Just kind of explain, first of all, what it actually is, because this is something where I don't think it's very commonly understood, even though that I have experience personally with humans. We did it in the gyms, but I want you to explain just kind of the actual ionic therapy, so that people can kind of grasp the concept as we keep moving along here.
Yeah, so it's ionization, and ionization is not new. It's been out there for hundreds of years. Actually, they use this very same technology to clean up the water in sewage plants to pass drinking water standards. Our bodies are 70% or plus water, and so are our pets. And what it's positive and negative ionization. So it's all programmed in the machine that it goes on 70-30. So 7 minutes on positive and then 3 minutes on negative, because we do have both positive and negative toxins or energies in our bodies. So you want to address both. And Dr. Maroney always claimed that 99% of the people will get the most benefit on a 70-30 treatment. So there's no guesswork on it. You just plug it in, turn it on, and then the sea salt is added just to get the conductivity in the water to the right amperage. So very simple to operate, and so there's a small electric current goes between the dual coil array, and there's the purest stainless steel in the arrays, 14% nickel, 8% zinc, less than 2% chromium. Those are all proven metals to go to the major organs in our bodies to detox. So the big thing with ionization, it elevates our hydrogen peroxide in our body. It also more oxygen into the body, and no disease can live in an alkaline environment, but it really thrives in acidic. So that's where we find that not only the treatment now of humans we do for a 30-minute, the machine goes to 30 minutes, but you can set it anywhere from 2 minutes to 60 minutes. So animals, like small dogs, you'd only do 5 to 8 minutes. And but what I wanted to get at is, it's not just that 8 minutes or 30 minutes. It's 24 to 36 hours after that treatment that the oxygen is elevated, the pH is elevated in our body. So that meaning that we're going to go at a deep cellular level. So that's why it's so important to keep hydrated. And that's why we also have if we can make sure that we're hydrated and drinking good pure water and not chlorinated water, and alkaline water is the best for deep hydration. So that's the benefit of when you do the detox, that it's not just that the minutes that you're in the bath, it's after that, it's working on a deep cellular level, cleansing through the organs and cells and tissues of the body. So that's where it's so effective, that I find.
Yeah, you said something to me the other day. We were talking about this before the call. I'm going to take this off here for a second and put our names back up. But you said something just kind of like you were just talking along, and I think you said it, and I just picked up on it then, which I will be honest, I know. So first of all, there's increase in the oxygen levels in the body, and my understanding is, in my holistic health practice and studies in the last 15, 16 years, has been that the best one-liner that I was ever given, one of them, by this guy, one of my greatest mentors, Paul Chek, is he said the best solution to pollution is dilution, and so that's to stay properly hydrated when it comes to detoxification. But the other one was that the best antidote for any inflammation in the body is oxygen, is increasing oxygen, and the benefits of exercise, which it increases blood flow, oxygen supply. When you exercise, the challenge is when there's joint pain, muscle pain, or discomfort of any kind, it's hard to move a muscle or a joint through a given range of motion and not create more inflammation just because of the process. So you want to increase the blood flow and circulation and oxygen. So you said this kind of in passing, where it was that it increases hydrogen peroxide levels in the body. And is there a connection? I'm just curious because I'm just thinking, is there a connection directly to the hydrogen peroxide levels in the body and oxygen as a result of doing the detox, or are they like two separate processes, or how does that?
No, it's the same thing. Like hydrogen peroxide is more oxygen too. It's higher in oxygen. So
Okay,
that's what elevates the oxygen into the body, but it instantly goes through the whole body, because what we suggest is the most non-invasive is putting your feet in the water. Now, dogs, from what I always, put their front feet in the water, or you can put all four in if you want, but I find just putting your front feet in the water, and they'll stay there forever. Now, cats,
they're a little hard.
I've never done anything with cats. It's there, you'd have to know the cat if they'll stay in there.
Yeah, and it's not that you couldn't. It's just that, I mean, as the joke goes, when something's maybe challenging or a little bit difficult, it's like herding cats.
Exactly.
So it could be just hard to keep them in there. So Michelle, I want to go down because Michelle has been asking, and some questions here, leaving a lot of comments, which is cool. So I have the pronunciation right, so we're good. So just had your amalgams removed by a specialist, but your daughter has these foot baths done on a regular basis. They work, which is cool. Okay, so you're just leaving some comments. Yes, I've been skeptical too, but open to the procedure. So Michelle, that's something, definitely talk to John about it. He can hook you up. And yes, I will put the link to John's website, but if you go to, I'm gonna get John another question and then I'll post the links where he's talking. But it's just healthierliving4u.com is his main website. But the old units I think are still on there. So the new ones, you can find them at hyperbathdetox.com. But if you want to learn a little bit more about it, you can go there and check out his website and the other stuff that he has on there. But I didn't mean to stop you there, but you were just saying you were on a roll talking about different ways and then got into the cats. So humans are putting their feet in and sitting in a chair and putting their feet in for about 30 minutes. Animals typically So a dog is like 5 to 8 minutes, but a horse would be what? Like you could do it longer, like 20
Oh
to
yeah,
30,
you could do it 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
because it's a bigger.
More on the weight. Like children under 10, we suggest children 4 and over can do it, but you do
Yeah.
only do 10 to 15 minutes, under 10 up to 20 minutes.
Okay.
And, it defaults at 30 minutes for adults, anybody over and we suggest you can do it 30 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So so in your presentation, like later this year, you're now just kind of talking about the benefits of it. I guess that was the other thing, like what people are commonly finding in, and I know you're going to go into more in detail, or at least I hope so anyways, with the specifics in your presentation this year in the summit. But can you just kind of recap, like what are the main benefits that you have heard customers report to you on the human side, at least?
The biggest thing is getting rid of pain.
Okay.
And more energy. That's what helped my wife. That's what we've got thousands of testimonials of people that are getting a lot of results for the chronic fatigue and more energy, the eliminating pain. A lot of people notice that in the first treatment, and a lot of times they also notice a clear mind, or they can start to feel worse for a while too, depending on how desperately toxic they are. Like we find people that are on a lot of harsh medications. The water can be really offensive and have a distinct odor to it, especially people after going through a series of chemo or radiation, because that's very toxic to the body. And stress is very toxic to our bodies too. So it's a big release, an emotional release too. And that's what we found with even the pets. They, if they're all stressed out, oftentimes you'll see them mellowing out more after a detox. So those are the biggest benefits that I've noticed.
Yeah. So you said this with alkaline, and I think again, I understand this too, but it's been because of my experience and understanding with working the human side. When you talk about alkaline, the opposite of alkaline is acidic, right?
Yes.
So when people are experiencing, or animals are experiencing, different types of ailments or conditions of any kind, typically, to my understanding, that it is when there's more the acidity, the body or the animal or whatever, the person is more acidic in nature. So how is that when you're doing a detox? Is it just because it raises the oxygen levels, which creates more of an alkaline environment and decreases the acidity? Is that what it's doing, or what?
Yes, that's the biggest for alkalizing the body. Almost always, we notice an increase in the pH, more alkaline after a detox, and anytime there's toxins are always acidic. There's not a time when they're alkaline. Toxins are always acidic. So
Right.
you're not only are you removing some of the toxins, you're putting the more oxygen in there to raise the pH in our bodies, and it's at a deep cellular level, and immediately it's going through the body as soon as you get your feet in the water, because the blood comes down to cool the feet.
Right.
And you're absorbing, because there's a high concentration of the positive and negative ions in the bath water, in our bodies are, or our pets' bodies, they're like a big sponge. We just absorbing them, soaking them up really, really quickly because it's going from the high concentration to a low concentration.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I used to explain that with my clients. If I just prepare yourselves here, I'm going to get the guns out and flex the pipes here. I hope you're laughing. Okay, but not. So I would tell them that here's the muscle when it's elongated or stretched. And then when I flex it or contract it, it's like squeezing a sponge. And then when you elongate it, it essentially breathes in or draws in the blood. And that's why exercise is so important, because as you get that pumping and that contraction, constriction and expansion happening, it's bringing the blood in and out, and then the higher oxygen levels that's in there. So I was thinking about that the other day, actually, about the fact that if the circulation is good in the body, that when the feet go in, this might sound kind of stupid, but my belief is it's only a silly question if you ask it twice. But do people, like, you theoretically, you could put your hands in the detox. It doesn't have to be your feet. It's just that the most logical area would be your feet. Or do you think that it wouldn't work?
Oh no, any part of the body, like the feet is the least non-invasive.
Yeah.
We've got lots of people that do their hands every second time, especially massage therapists that really working with their hands a lot. They'll do their hands every second time, or you can do just the hands, whatever. The from what I have been taught, the biggest pores and the most pores are in the bottom of our feet.
Yeah. And that makes sense from a reflexology standpoint. Vitamins, the acupressure, acupuncture, all the different points in the meridians and the organ, the visceral somatic connections. If I remember some of my terminology from before, visceral meaning organs and somatic with the movement in the body, and it's like different connections there. So I mean that definitely makes sense. But I want to scroll back because I know we're missing a bunch of comments. I want to try and stay current with those that are on live. So yes, I think I already put this up, but yes, it is something that you can do, Michelle. Same thing. I was like, it makes so much sense now, but before I was like, really, I wouldn't even have thought to put Lucy in when we had her in at all. And yes, Michelle, if you want to share this, definitely go ahead and do that. And I think I was getting notifications that you already have, which is cool. And more oxygen and H2O in the body is great for proper overall body functions, for sure. I mean, the best way to think about that is if you just think, okay, well, hold your breath and stop oxygenating your body and watch how quickly things will change. That's a very, maybe a not so nice way to think, like, oh, I'm just going to hold my breath. But it just proves the point that having proper oxygen levels, and even recently when we had our son, Leo, baby Leo, that was one of the things they were monitoring in the hospital, was monitoring his blood oxygen levels, or oxygen levels in his blood, in addition to his respiratory rate and heart rate. And that's the reason why he was hospitalized for a week, was just because his breathing rate was really high. But they would have been really concerned if his respiratory rate was really high and the blood oxygen levels in the blood was low, but it was up. So it's just that he was breathing excessively high. And but when you're getting properly oxygenated, then life is a lot better. So Laura, what type of machine is he referring to? He's talking about an Ionic Detox Foot Bath. I put the links there that you can go and check them out on John's website. Is Healthy Living for You. He's going to be doing a presentation. If you're coming in late, he's doing a presentation later this year in the summit about Ionic Detoxification Therapy and what it is, how it works, other than what we've talked about now. But he's going to go through like the formal presentation. And so I hope that answers the question, Laura. But basically, it's a bath that you put your feet in with water, and then you put a little bit of sea salt to get the conductivity up. Then you put this array in that puts negative and positive ions in the water, and then it basically cleanses the body that way. And I already put this on here, John's link to the product. There's two links. So I think, John, the one thing you wanted me to make sure was clear was that your current website that you had for 14 years is Healthier Living for You. That's where a lot of your education and blogs and customer service and other products that you have. And then don't let me forget on what you said earlier about alkaline water and feeding that to your pets, because I want to make sure you mention that. And then, but then the other link that you have is hyperbathdetox.com, where people can go if they want to purchase the new unit. Right?
Yeah, we have discontinued the old unit, and we're just launching the pre-orders on the HyperBath.
Okay.
Which is our new unit, should be ready very shortly for distribution. So it's the very same technology with the arrays. Just as technology advances, the new bath is
trying to make it better.
Yeah, we're just updating to new technology. You probably wouldn't use your cell phone that you used 14 years ago with the screen.
Yeah, there's some people that I've been out and about. And yes, for those Americans in other countries, we do say that, out and about, that I've seen flip phones out there. In fact, one of our other presenters, animal wellness presenters, and for the other summit, Sherry Ross, some of you know who Sherry Ross is. She's like a rock star in Young Living and in the Animal Wellness Summit. She still has a flip phone, and she's like, honey, she's like, I still carry this thing because the signal's strong, and she uses it, but she's like, I'm going to have to get a new one soon. I've just been delaying it for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Now, Emily, I'm not sure what you're referring to. You said use the food and love it. Maybe you're talking about Michelle and her bird food, because I know that she sells bird food. And I don't know, birds, you probably this wouldn't really work a whole lot for birds. I don't know, unless.
I doubt it.
So Michelle's just leaving a comment here. The body synthesizes H2O, but yes, the body needs oxygen for this. Compromised immune systems may not have enough oxygen in the blood to synthesize H2O, which I believe to be true. Okay.
Yes.
Now she's asking this, and then there's another question from Sarah May and a few more coming up here. Okay, so first she said no name, brand name, but you'll understand this in a second. So she said, what are your opinions on the cheaper foot bath models? In other words, have you found to be, how has you, wow, this is my first day on the job, everybody, so bear with me. In other words, how has he found them to be of lower quality? So specifically what makes them lower quality? And then you want to make sure you're purchasing the best. She's saying probably John's, but I still want to know the advantage of this model to the disadvantages of cheaper models. Because I think this is important. And I mean, this is where, for those of us who are into the world of essential oils, I use Young Living. I know some people use other brands. You just want to feel confident in the product that you're using, or if you're in a therapy, you want to make sure you're using the best. So John, let us know what your thoughts are on that, because I know that this is one of the main reasons why you, to my understanding, you designed this and put the whole thing together, because you were doing some research and you found out a couple of things that were interesting.
Yeah, when we first got into it, the original Ion Cleanse was $4,000 US, and we never thought that we could ever afford that. So my wife went mostly 3 times a week to a wellness clinic 2 hours away, did the sessions at $65 a session, and she did that for about 6 months, and amazing results. But we never bought the foot bath because we didn't think we could afford it. But after the 6 months, we spent more than the $4,000 US on treatments and gas and that. Yeah. At the end, we had nothing to show for it. When you have your own machine, your cost per treatment is $1.50 to $3 for all the replacement array, your supplies, the liners, and that's in the foot bath. But when we looked at, I was skeptic of everything, and I know there's so much variation in foot baths. So I looked at the other foot baths. The Ion Cleanse, in my opinion, is the best quality, and Dr. Maroney did a lot of research on ionization, and So I looked at the cheaper ones. I purchased a bunch of them just to look them over, because you can see them on the as low as a couple $100 and right up to $5,000 on the.
Yeah.
And so I looked at some of these, but a lot of them, and I still get calls today of people saying, well, I just bought this foot bath. The people are out of business and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So people go into business, they get the knockoff machines, and the next month they open up in another business. So there's no support. And that's what I found with nobody really knew the information. That's why my son and I designed and developed, and we service them 100% right here in Ontario.
Yeah.
And so we've been in business for over 14 years, and we really want to make sure that people understand the quality. You really do get what you pay for. A lot of them are contaminated arrays. So our arrays retail for $60. They'll do about 20, average 20 sessions. I've seen arrays on the market for, $10.
Right.
Contaminated metal. They don't have the 14% nickel in them. So you are, in fact, doing your body harm. You're putting toxic metals back into the water and really doing more harm to your body. So, and they're not true positive and negative. There's no way you can put elevated hydrogen peroxide if you don't have both positive and negative.
Yeah.
And most machines do not switch from positive to negative. They may switch on the screen, but if you check at the array, they're not dual coils, so you can't put both positive and negative in.
Right.
And
so these ones
they're usually throwaways. Like,
yeah, you do them like use it for a couple times and then that's it. And I think this is the thing. It's like, it's like the world. So for me, I've been using for 10 years, I've been using Young Living. I found other brands and I just put this out there. I personally believe in Young Living. If you use other companies, all the power to you. It's totally cool. I love that when people are using them. And all I'll say is that in my own humble research and like using with clients, I tried other products and other brands, and I just go to the health food store, go to the grocery store and use them, and it just wouldn't work the same. And I think that's where quality comes into play, and that's where it's important, right? And I think people, I'm presuming most people appreciate this that are watching now and in the future. And I think that this is why, and I said this on the last call, is that I always do my best, and as a team here, for us to vet all of our presenters coming on. John's been in business for 14 years, has been doing this. The reason he got started is because helping what it did for his wife. And I just think when you make the connection of buying quality compared to crap, it's reminds me of one of my dad's sayings that there's no shortcuts to any place worth going. And so if you buy, you get what you pay for to a degree. But the unfortunate part is you can be fooled into buying something that's not really that great, that could be overpriced as well. And I want to keep, pardon me, I was going to mute the sound, but I didn't get to it. I want to keep going here on this because that was really great to answer the question. I think, Michelle, I'm presuming that helps on your question. I'm going to keep rolling up here. Sarah May has a question. Have you treated persons with fibromyalgia, or shall I say, and just to clarify, Sarah May, John, I don't think that his wife used to have people come to the house to do treatments per se, but John is a supplier of this, like the technology of these units. So I guess you wouldn't say that you would treat people with them, but people do use them if they have fibromyalgia, right?
Yes, that's one of the testimonials of people with fibromyalgia that really see huge benefits, and lots of people. We can't make any claims in the holistic health and we don't want to say that this is any diagnosis or cure for anything, because it's not. you will get results, but we have to rely on our testimonials. And
Right.
on our website, we've got hundreds of testimonials of people there, and even diabetics. We have a doctor in uh, in in Toronto who finds when he does the detoxes, they can really lower their insulin levels, that they don't need to take near as much insulin when they do the detox foot bath. And those are the type of testimonials that we get all the time from.
Yeah, I had somebody. So just so you guys know, I have one of these units. I've been using. We had them in the gym for about 7 years in each of my gyms, and I've done over 1,000 of them myself. Not on myself, but I've done them for clients in the gym. We used to do them. The massage therapist would do it because it was under their scope of practice. So they could, a client who didn't want to get massage therapy but had benefits could use it. And then this is where the fibromyalgia, the massage therapist would be treating patients that are having issues with fibromyalgia, all sorts of different inflammatory issues, and then they would do the detox and then alternate with the massage, and it was pretty cool. So I've seen that. I will be honest, I understand the basic mechanics of it, but I'm a big proponent of, okay, it's one thing to like understand all the in-depth finite details and inner workings, but you can kind of separate things in all these little compartmentalized elements. But then when you just experience it, it's hard to explain. I mean, I've had people do it and then they're like, wow, like within minutes of putting their feet in, they're like, I'm feeling better. And they're like, am I going crazy? Am I just thinking that I'm feeling better? And I'm like, no, it's just don't look for anything specific. Just be patient and see what you notice. Of course, this is a little bit challenging when you do. I have never done a dog or a horse at all, but I mean, you can't like, hey, Mr. Horse, how are you feeling right now? They're like, oh, great. It's a little different with humans, but I'm all that to say that it's judging by the results of like experiencing it. And I had put a post online and somebody quoted and said, "Oh yeah, we'll look at this this report that was on the news, and they said this is like it doesn't work and it's a crock and all this stuff." And I'm like, first of all, they even admitted that they bought a unit off Amazon for $150. So first of all, you don't even know what kind of unit it was, and second, I don't know, but after doing 1,000 of them on other people and myself, it works, and it works pretty amazing. It's pretty interesting. That's all. I just know that I'm curious to see Michelle. Actually, I want to pull this up again. Michelle, you're doing a great job leaving some awesome comments here. She did say this. She said because we were talking about birds. I was just saying that it's a bit of a joke, but she said, actually, I have my clients soak their birds' feet. She said fee, but I think she forgot the T. Feet to detox. I think this might work for birds. So maybe, Michelle, you could be the pioneer of Ionic Detox foot baths with birds, because I don't know if you can get them to just like soak their feet, and I don't know how that could work, but that's pretty interesting. I think she's just doing some sort of like a water, like a soak, maybe with Epsom salts or something. But yeah, okay. So this is another question. I'm trying to sort through the comments and the questions. Michelle is asking, does it matter what kind of water that's used? I use Fiji water for bird because it's naturally alkaline. So tell us about the water. Do people just go and put regular tap water in? Does it have to be distilled, RO water, spring water, or what's the deal?
In the foot bath, we suggest using just ordinary tap water. There's no benefit to using distilled or reverse osmosis water in the bath water, because if you use distilled, you're just going to have to put a lot more salt in, because distilled water has zero.
It's demineralized.
Yeah, so there's nothing in there for conductivity. So you just have to add a lot more salt. So there's no benefit to using that type of water. Now, for drinking water, we really encourage using alkaline water, and we actually have an alkaline water pitcher, much like everybody knows about the Brita, which filters water, but I call it a turbocharged filter because it not only removes the toxic like chlorine and that out of the water. We've also got ingredients in it now to remove fluoride and arsenic, but it puts minerals back into the water to raise the pH. Like anything that's below 7 neutral, 7.0 pH, and that's normally what tap water is, or slightly acidic. And so when all the minerals fall out of it if it's below 7.0.
Right.
But as soon as it's alkaline, then you have all those minerals back in the water. So there's a lot of controversy over alkaline water that, yeah, you shouldn't be drinking it with your meals. A lot of people suggest not drinking water with your meals because it will dilute the acids in your stomach. So we suggest not drinking the alkaline water. But it's funny, and we just did this when we got the alkaline water. We've had the alkaline water machines, and a lot of people don't want to pay $5,000 for an alkaline water system in there. So we have a very simple alkaline pitcher, but what we always find, and many people tell us that if you put the water out of the alka pitcher, alkaline water is always smoother, and it's at smaller molecules, so your body absorbs it. But if you put two tap water and the alka pitcher water side by side, every time our pets would go for the alkaline water.
Wow.
Every time. And people tell us that. And, animals know. Animals really know what they need. So,
well, they don't have a programmed mind or conditioned mind like humans. They do have conditioning and programming, but it's different than humans.
Yeah.
And maybe Carolina Westland could correct me on that because she's an animal behavioral specialist, has been doing it in universities for like 20 or 30 years. But yeah, that's pretty neat. So basically so people just put the tap water in through the pitcher and then they can pour it in. I think that'd be kind of neat to kind of check. I'd be interested to see that, to kind of test it out, to put like the tap water and then put the regular alkaline water or alkalized water, because Chantal Laflamme, who was one of our presenters as well, was talking about the benefits of like having good quality water and drinking water. And think about like eating and even thinking about supplements and essential oils, and there's a lot of questions that can ask around all that stuff. But then she's like, one big thing that can be commonly overlooked is what water is being given to the animals or our pets. And she was doing a lot of testing and finding in her area, I think she's in somewhere around Phoenix or Scottsdale, Arizona, and she said that a lot of the water has a lot of arsenic in it, and fluoride. And then I actually told her about your alka pitcher and sent her the link, and she's like, wow, she'd never heard of it before, but it looks pretty exciting because it says right on there that it now is helping to remove arsenic and fluoride. So that's pretty cool. So that answers that question for sure, Michelle. There's another one from Laura. I've had detox foot baths. My water is always nasty. How often is too often to do foot baths, and can it leach essential minerals out of the body? And she's obviously asking from the human perspective, but I think we'll presume as well that the same can apply for our animals. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we suggest for humans doing it every second day for 10 to 12 sessions. And if people are going through some really health issues, some practitioners are suggesting they do it every day for 30 days. But really being cautious that they're keeping the bodies hydrated. That's so important. And also that they're supplementing good or eating healthy. And now I'm not sure how how often you do it for animals, but we used to do ours, a couple times a week, and then maintenance maybe once a week, or if they were going through some things, do it every other day for them. The thing about leaching out essential minerals, if we're really, really toxic, it's such a minute amount of the minerals that you're really going to be taking out of the body. From my experience, it's so minute of the amount of the value of getting the flow going, and it's not what we intake, it's what we absorb. So we just find that when you're it's 14 hours when you're elevated the hydrogen peroxide and oxygen in your body's going to absorb a lot of your essential minerals that we need from our food, from our water, from our supplementation, and all of that. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you are cleansing. But hydration is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't not, the first thing is oxygenation in the body. Can't go too long without breathing or having proper oxygen levels in the body. And then the next thing is that you can go long without food. But then you need water as well to I think, if I remember correctly from my studies early in my holistic health training, it was that 1% of dehydration in the body could create muscle dysfunction or neurological issues for up to 10%. So it could create, so 1% dehydration of the body creates a neurological effect that's not, so like people that are dehydrated, they kind of get a little delusional, or muscle function starts to drop, and you start getting like cramps and all these other issues, and just getting properly hydrated is important. So there was one other question here, and then a couple more. So Laura, hope that since you're still on here, let's just answer this one quick, and then we're going to go back to Diana. So Laura was just asking, should the water get clearer after several foot baths? That's a great one.
We actually find oftentimes it gets dirtier after 3 or 4 foot baths, because we hold on to a lot of things, emotions, baggage, all those sort of things, our bodies. And once we've done that and get accustomed to doing the detox, we find it gets dirtier. Now, oftentimes the colors are different, but it's, as long as we're on this earth and have a pulse, we're exposed to toxins. So it's never going to come clear unless you lose your pulse, of course. But, I was an auto mechanic for 30 years, and this is where I was exposed to so many toxins. That's what really interested me. When I first started, my water was solid block flecks, which is heavy metals.
Yeah.
And I hardly get any heavy or black flecks anymore. Now, oftentimes the water's different colors, like orange from the joints, or it might be brown, or from the liver, or different colors, as far as we can tell, mean quite a bit too. But it never comes clear.
Yeah, I haven't ever seen that. I have had that with one person, but I think that they have some skin issues going on, and it wasn't like letting it just completely, like, it wasn't like, oh, you're just going to get clean. And somebody had said, well, theoretically speaking, you would think the more that you would do it, the cleaner it would get. And I would say that I have noticed improvements in people that they do them 2 or 3 times a week for like a month. There was improvements, but I've had it just depends, right? Everybody's so biochemically individual and unique that so much that's in the body. And I would agree with that. With the emotions being stored in the body and toxins, and I actually had a client who did one the other night, and she messaged me in the morning, and she was like, is having crazy ASS nightmares as a side effect of doing this. And I said, well, not always, but sometimes. And she was like, why? And I said, well, when the body's detoxifying and pulling things out of the body, usually it's stored in the body fat or the organs. And when that comes out, it's emotions is energy in motion, and it can create some of those experiences. When you look at doing this for our pets and animals, really it's just giving them the best chance to support their health and well-being. And I don't know, are there, and this is another question, because Laura has another comment here, and then I want to pull up Michelle's and then Diana's, and we're running out of time quickly here. But I don't know, like, are there any detriments to doing, like, are there any side effects that are unfavorable that people should be thinking about? Because I was just going to say, I don't think that there's any negative side effects, but what are some not favorable side effects, if there are any?
Well, there are contraindications. Anybody on a pacemaker should not do it, or at least check with their doctor, because from what I gather, the new pacemakers aren't affected by electrical current, but
Okay.
always check on that. Anybody on life-threatening medications, because some people are on medications that they want reject an organ transplants. So those people should not do it because you don't want to be responsible for pulling some of that medication. Anybody on medications, we suggest to arrange to do the foot bath after the medications.
Yeah.
Or at least 3 to 4 hours, take the medications 3 to 4 hours before you would do the detox. So those are the main, because you could pull some of the medications if you did it immediately. So
yeah, and I would say this officially off the record, but I had my holistic health studies. One of the biggest things was the challenges that we were up against working with people that were on medical drugs, and a lot of them, and not saying that they don't have their place, because they certainly do. And it's just that there are side effects, and the way to know about the side effects of medical drugs is watch a commercial, especially if you're an American. It still shocks me. I watch some of the medical commercials, the drugs, and they're like, the side effect, you're like, well, crap, I might as well keep whatever ailment I have now, because the side effects that could potentially come from taking the medical drug sounds worse than what I have now. But with all kidding aside, I think it's just, I wanted to ask you, like you're saying about the contraindications, like the concerns, but what side effects? Like, there's really no negative side effects. So meaning that if somebody's concerned and they do it, they're not like, oh, well, it's gonna, create this effect. It's just that they'll either feel good or they might not notice anything.
Yeah, and it's all natural. So there's I haven't heard of any side effects of. As a matter of fact, a lot of people are excited. Like, I've never had, and we've done tens of thousands of over the years, and I've never had anyone say, now that was a bad experience. They're always saying, wow, I just wonder what it's going to be like next time. How am I going to feel? And of course, some people feel worse after, and it's going through the healing crisis of that. And we always encourage, because it complements with whatever you do. I don't suggest you just do the foot bath and do nothing else, because it's a balance. It complements with whatever you're doing. If it enhances the oils, it enhances, if somebody's on an herbal detox, we encourage them to do that along with it, because it's safe, it's easy, but it enhances with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's a good point, because I think that's the concern. There's a big question of like, well, what should I take? What supplement? What oil? What food? Raw food this, or what about this, and what about that? And then the question is, I think is good to maybe take some things away and simplify things, eat clean, and build yourself back up, do some ion detoxes, hydrate yourself, exercise, get some good, deep, restful sleep, and a lot can really improve. And I think that this is where I don't know. I mean, I haven't done this myself, but I'm curious to see. I have a feeling that we're going to have some of the people who are on the call, get themselves a unit, try it with their pets and animals, and then can report back to us and let us know. Because I'm just genuinely naturally curious at the core of my being. That's why I'm a student of lifelong learning, and I love learning about this stuff. So I think that it's just really cool. And Laura, I want to come back to this question before I forget. And Michelle was saying another one is just that, so to Laura's question, this doesn't leach out trace minerals, but does it actually add trace minerals to the bodily system? I would want to say probably no, but what are your thoughts on that?
It wouldn't add, but it will enhance whatever you're taking.
Yeah.
It will, and that's why the hyper bath is, hyper means turbo. So that's what I believe. It enhances whatever your like I said before, it's not what you intake, it's what you absorb. So
Yeah.
it helps to enhance anything that you're doing, in my opinion, there.
Yeah, okay. So this, and I was just gonna say, I explained this to somebody about, it's basically like, they're like, well, how do I know like it really works? And I said, well, just trust the process, do it, it works. Whether you think it does or doesn't, it works. And I told them, she said, well, could I try and explain it to me? And I don't know if this makes sense to you at all, but I was laughing because I remembered this. And I said, do you go to the bathroom? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, you go to the bathroom daily? She was like, yeah, 2 or 3 times, like number 1 and number 2. And she was like, yeah. She was like, where is this conversation going? And I said, well, basically, if you're constipated, imagine how good you're going to feel if you don't go and you keep eating food and your body gets auto intoxication. So you just keep putting in and you're not eliminating. So I said to her, this is basically helping your body as another form of detoxification. It's not, you should be sweating. I think so. This is, of course, I'm an exercise guy. I'm going to say this, but like sweating, exercising, but going pee, going poop, breathing and exhaling, those are all forms of detoxification. So it's not like it's just the one thing. So I remember just explaining it to her that it's facilitating the body, and this goes for our pets and animals as well, that it's going to give them a much better, stronger chance in order to just feel good. And this is the question I wanted to get to, and this is the one that I thought I was thinking the whole time. I'm like, how in the heck do you keep the horse's foot in or the dog's in the foot bath? Because Diana's asking, how do you keep the animal's feet in the bath? But I know when you guys did this with your dog, what did you do? Did you guys just like, okay, Molly, just stay in there. You're going to do the detox. They're going to come back in 20 minutes. Or do you sit there and hang out with them, or what do you guys do or recommend?
Well, we put them through a whole dog training course before we put them in there.
Oh, you do?
No, Molly was so gentle and loved us, and she'd sit in there. She'd sit in there for forever with her feet in there. That's where I said it's a challenge.
Yeah.
The cat. We did try our cat once. It wasn't pleasant, but we had both labs, and they loved. They would sit in there. Now, if your dog's really individually, you'd have to see. Like we have dog groomers that groom their pets, and they do this as an additional service as a holistic service, and if most groomers are trained to
keep them.
I hear of people that say, well, you'll never groom my dog because she won't sit. Well, they usually groom them so they also can get them adjusted that they'll stay with the feet in the water too. So
yeah, well, it makes me think of one of our VIP members, Joanne Bodine. She's from Alberta, and she's a dog groomer. I'm going to mention this to her. I never thought of that before, about just that. That's something that they can do. So that's pretty cool. So basically, just keep them calm. You hang out with them, like pet them, and kind of just let them feel comfortable. So couple more questions, and then we'll wrap things up here. This was really good. I don't think that Michelle is interested in this at all. I think out of the 53 comments so far, she has 49 of them. But this one, so Dan is wondering, does this help diabetics?
Well, that's where we, Dr. D. Philippus, he's in Toronto, and he's got a testimony on our website where he did a study of over 800 diabetics. He's a chiropodist, a foot doctor, and mainly with diabetics.
Okay.
And he, through his study, he found that they were lowering their insulin level intake by up to 30-50% while they're detoxing. And I mean, we can't make any claims.
No.
But, he's real. Anyone who's diabetic, they're always testing their insulin, and a lot of people, if they're really high before the foot bath, they're down to normal after the foot bath. It really is effective. Those are one of the things that are really, you can tell right away.
Right.
Not always the pH strips. It's not quite that quick. Sometimes it is, but we find anybody that it certainly lowers the sugar levels in the body. That's why we really suggest diabetics make sure they've eaten before they do the detox. And people oftentimes they'll say, well, I feel really lightheaded during or after. And that's because they're dehydrated. You're going to find when you're doing this,
yeah,
you're going to drink more water. Because most of us do not drink enough water, but you're thirsty with this. You'll notice that, and a lot of people notice loose stools after it. So it's that effect that you really notice physical and emotional. I just bring up this one guy that he told his wife she can't go for the foot baths anymore because she had a lot of dark brown, which is liver release in her body, and when she would come home after the detox, she would just tear a strip off of him. And he said she was really releasing the anger. So
the liver was letting go in a very intense.
Yeah, and it showed in her bath water too.
Wow.
And we see that a lot of times with people with joint problems. All of a sudden, it's really orange, or sometimes it's just on the left side, and you ask them, "Oh, that's because my left shoulder is really aching today."
Yeah, that's pretty. I was just laughing because that's that makes sense, definitely with the liver. So I put a link up there, guys. If you want to go see them, he's got the testimonials on his website. And just for those of you who are in the natural, holistic, homeopathic, alternative world in all health modalities, especially in the world of essential oils, and for those of us in Young Living, we're regulated and got to be careful with what you say, and that's why John's being very tactful with communicating the benefits and not making any specific claims. But there's a link to the testimonials. You can see them. I know that there's a document I've seen before with a lot of testimonials on that are not on the website, and you can't read those and think that those people were making them up. That's for sure. So you're going to want to go and check them out. And Laura had asked another question, and Trisha has one, and then we got to wrap things up here. But Laura was saying that that's what I've experienced. So circling back to the comment we were talking about the water getting cleaner, is that she's an empathy and transmuter. So I've been told that it may play a role in your super gross water. It could be that as well, Laura, but my intuition would be suggesting that it's just that the body, and this goes for pets and animals, but also human beings, that the body is very efficient and will store the toxins in our body fat. And so when you do this and detoxify, and then the organs, it's coming out and cleansing out of the body. And that's why I refer to that about the dreams. And if those of you who have done this, maybe I think Michelle made the connection there, but there is a connection through detoxification. You can have like crazy nightmares and all these things that can happen. And it's just a part of the healing process. And I think that this is probably pretty important to think about when you start using this on your pets and your animals, and thinking about, and I've been saying this a lot, Rose, I probably sound like a broken record, but I started thinking about the connection of like PTSD or anxiety in animals, and I'm curious to see, I don't know if somebody's out there willing to try this, if you have a dog or a horse, or specifically because the cats are a little bit maybe harder to do this with, but I'd be very curious to see if somebody had an animal that has PTSD or anxiety, or is just maybe was a rescue that had gotten, unfortunately abused or beaten. It'd be neat to see what would happen after doing some regular treatments, to how it would change their behavior and demeanor. That would be interesting. Yeah, so the other question here, I was just putting that out there. So we got to the diabetics one. Trisha, would this possibly help with pets who have allergies? Never thought of that.
Well, it helps people with allergies. So I would imagine that it could help, but
this is where you guys, if you're still on here live and watching this as the replay, this is where you can come in. John, there's a lot more information. I don't think there's barely anything out there on the animals. But I think that if this speaks to you, I encourage you to reach out to John and go to his website there, Healthier Living for You, or hyperbathdetox.com, and get yourself a unit and try them. Because we don't have any animals yet back in our house after our Lucy ran away. We've been having a hard time just getting back to getting another one. We want to, but I'm just curious to see how it would work. But Trisha, if you were willing to try it, I'd encourage you to get one and try it, because the only way to know is by actually doing it. So there's just not that much data out there on specifically yet on doing these types of treatments with animals. Yeah, there is from the experience standpoint, but not that's documented. So Laura was asking, do you have a list of what different colors of the water and junk are after a foot bath? I often get what looks like cholesterol floating on top.
Yeah, we have a full chart in our brochures of what, as far as we can tell, what they mean, and when we first started this, where my wife found that she had too many heavy metals, it was through an iridologist who reads the eyes, and the different colors in there are similar to what they read, and it's through Chinese medicine too, that as far as they know, that's what the colors are. Like dark brown or black is from the liver,
yeah,
green is from the gallbladder, orange is from the joints, and yellow from the urinary tract, and if there's a lot of cheese-like particles in there, that's yeast.
Candida and yeast.
Yeah, and if there's a lot of pollen, that's from our the bubbles are from our lymphatic system.
Okay.
And
so
I noticed on your last cleanse that you put on Facebook, you had a ton of bubbles in it, which is great, but it's unusual to have that many.
Yeah.
That's great, because it does take energy to detox and to release all of that.
Yeah, there's my body's been going through some stuff lately.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I didn't actually even think about the bubbles part, but I think we're definitely getting way beyond here. That we're gonna give the whole movie away before people come to the presentation. So, guys, as you can tell, there's quite a bit to learn about this. I know that there's two parts of me feeling about this with the presentation when we do these calls is that Jamie, my assistant, has been off the last little while for holidays, and I know that our inbox, our support inbox, is going to get bombarded with great questions. Just know that what I'll be doing is I'll be directing you, and there's something that we can help you with, but I want to give you some encouragement to reach out to John. He had said before we got on that I told him, I said, I always like to put the website out there. You can go through the contact form on the websites, because this is part of what we do at the Animal Wellness Summit, is really just to bring you the best of the best on the face of the planet and right to your doorstep, so to speak, with bringing these weekly calls, but also to connect you with other brilliant presenters and well-intentioned people like John that have been doing great work. And this is something that he's shown an interest in and wanting to get more information on using it. You mentioned before, John, that you've done it with your dog. You guys had before dogs, and other customers of yours are using them. But it's just going to be good to start getting some more data, like some testimonials. I think that it'd be kind of cool to start using them. So if you have questions for him, you can just go to healthierlivingforyou.com, and he has his contact information on there. But you can also email him at info@hl4y.com. And he has this report that he wanted to share with you called what was it called again? I just had the website.
Your Toxic Truth.
Okay. So if you email that address, just info@hl4y.com, and this is all you have to put in the subject line. Just put your toxic truth, and it has to be 3 words, lowercase, 3 separate words. Your toxic truth. Just email that into info@hl4y.com, and then he'll send that report to you. Any questions you can of course ask them as well through the support desk. And then go to his website, hyperbathdetox.com. I don't know that I'm going to be able to find them in the sea of comments here. Side note, thanks, Michelle. But we really appreciate it. Love having interaction with you guys when we're on live. But go to hyperbathdetox.com or healthierlivingforyou.com, and you can look forward to more coming from John in this year's summit. He's going to be a presenter for both of them, actually, for the Wild Summit and the Animal Summit. So I don't think that I missed anybody's comments, but I will say that Sarah May, all the way from the UK, said, thanks, John and Barney, so interesting, food for thought. And side note, Sarah May, I know you mentioned something about the water right here. Great tip about the water. You will try it with your dogs. So go for it. If you have something there on your end to alkalize the water, then do that. And if not, those things are, how much are those things again? $79 for that pitcher or something?
Yeah, we have a special on right now, $79.99 with the and it's got 3 filters in it, so 6 months of filtering.
Okay. So you guys can go to his website, healthierlivingforyou.com, and then get that Alka pitcher and do the little test yourself. Tap water, and then put the water through the Alka pitcher and see what happens. I think it'd be pretty interesting. And Michelle, you're amazing. Thank you for putting that on here. I think there was one other comment I want to pull up here, but I think we got everything. So,
Barney, were you going to mention that I want to offer the pre-launch special for your group, for this group? That I know it's taken off.
Yeah, I didn't, but thank you. I actually we went way over time here, and I forgot about that, but thank you. So John, right now the units they sell, as he said, there's some units that are out there that are like, I don't know, $2,500 to $4,000 or more. His other units that he was selling were about $2,600 to $3,000 for one unit, but you get enough supplies that will last like for 60 or 70 treatments. But he's able to, with these new ones, he's been able to get the price down. So if you go to hyperbathdetox.com and you want to order one, I said I would, could you do something for our community, for our presenters, for all of you as attendees and registrants and members. And if you just put in AWS 2019 as a promo code, he'll give you $250 off. Okay. So if you want to go and get yourself one, you can, and he does offer an easy payment plan. So you can go in there and get yourself one. And if you have questions for me, I use one. I have one. I haven't used it on my animals yet, but if you're using it for huge, just know it's a great investment because you can use it for yourself personally. You can offer treatments to other people. If you're a practitioner like Michelle is, or a dog groomer or a vet, and you want to offer this and start, offering sessions or treatments to people, the unit will pay for itself hands down very quickly. But if you're using it for personal, we have people that come into the gym and they're like, oh, I'm not going to buy a unit for $3,000, but they would just buy packages and do treatment sessions. And then I had one client who literally spent like $4 or $5 grand, and then she's like, okay, yeah, in treatments. And I'm like, I'm fine with it because she was paying the gym to do it. But then I said, or she came back in and said, well, she wished she would have just bought the unit because then she would have paid that money and then had it to use it. So if you want to go and do that promo code, I'll put it down here for you, is just AWS 2019, and use it on your animals 100%. Yes, Michelle, thank you. Use it for yourself and your animals and have fun with it. And I'm excited to learn more about your presentation, just with the formal part of going through all the benefits, and the visual part, and the webinar will be really fun. But this is a great little chat today. So thanks for coming on, John.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any final words of wisdom that you want to leave everybody with before we wrap up?
Just know that I'm here to support. If we can help one person to bring some new technology to complement with whatever you're doing now, it never competes, and know that we're here to support. I believe we've got the highest quality, and if there is a problem, it's just like when I was in the auto business. Everyone's upset if the car they just bought a car and it didn't work. So that's why I really wanted to make sure that, if you buy this foot bath, it's going to work. And if it's not, we're going to make it right. There's support here. And now that we've joined up together here, Barney, to get it out to more people, I'm excited of what it can do for the animal community too in there. And, you're doing a really great job on the marketing end. That's your expertise of how do you get it out there? How do you pay for this machine immediately and get people knowing that you're the expert out there. You're the go-to person of introducing great products.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's good to have something that uses another tool for the toolbox, for your health and wellness toolbox. And I just think that it is great, and I use it weekly, almost weekly on myself. And I'm just excited for those of you who want to get it and use it for your, like Michelle, if you're going to get one and use it for your birds, I'm interested in that. And just for the dogs and the horses, because it's just, they look at all the different types of things that you can do. And there's no known side effects or detrimental drawbacks to it. It's not like, oh, if you do it too much, you're going to be bedridden for 2 days because it's going to harm the body of any kind. It's just that you want to make sure you're properly hydrated. I just think that that's awesome. So I put this up here as well as we'll wrap up here. We're only 32 minutes over. But this one here, so just to clarify, Michelle, thank you so much for being on here and engaging and also posting this. So that AWS 2019, it will only work on that other, to my knowledge, because you're phasing out this, the link right now has the old one, but it will have the new bath on there, but it will only work right now on the hyperbathdetox.com website. So just make sure you guys pay attention to that. If you want to go get one, if you have any questions for me personally about them at all, you can reach out to us at support@fullcircle holistichealth.com, for John at info@hl4y.com. And Belinda, you're more than welcome. Thank you for tuning in. It's always great, as much as I think that I'm cool and can do it all by myself. It's even better when you have a great presenter on like John and you guys interact and engage with. And Michelle was just saying wonderful vision and mission and purpose. So that's pretty cool. And yes, Michelle's saying I will def get one for our parents and for me too. And well worth the time. So that's awesome. Okay, guys. I'd like to say, stay blessed, stay grateful, stay humble, stay hungry, keep learning. And if you're not yet, for whatever reason, signed up for the Animal Wellness Summit, you just go online and type in go.animalwellnesssummit.com and get yourself signed up for free. Or you can join us as a VIP paid member and experience all the benefits that we have to offer there. And I won't explain it now, but you can see all the details on the page there. And I just want to say thanks for coming and being here and being present. And the last thing, I know my wife says to me, she's like, Barney, you say the last time, the last thing, the last time, the last question, the last comment, like 15 times. But I promise is the last one, is that if you found this helpful, just tag somebody in this, share it with your friends, your group members, team members, prospects, clients, anybody you think that this might benefit. You can just share this Facebook, the call, or just go share John's website with, and because it's just great because you can see he's on a mission, and it's in support of what we're doing with bringing the best education in holistic animal wealth for our dogs, cats, birds, and horses. For all around the world. So Sarah May, thanks for tuning in from the UK, and Diana, thanks for joining and having some great questions as well. We will talk to you guys in the future, and thanks, John, and looking forward to your presentation later.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
All right, sounds good, guys. Bye-bye.